These are popular songs that aren't about what you think they are about. Very interesting. So there's a song called Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Ooh, I love this song.
Total Eclipse of the Heart by Heart, right? Is that who sings it?
Before you get into it, let's guess what we think it's about.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. That's a great idea. Okay.
I'm assuming it's about somebody that you loved but missed. Like the timing was bad. That's just a quick random guess. That's probably wrong.
Okay, I'll read you the lyrics and you're going to tell me. Oh, sorry, Bonnie Tyler. I can't believe I thought that was by Heart.
Once upon a time, I was falling apart. Now I'm only falling apart.
Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you're never coming around. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of listening to the sound of my tears. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified and then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Turn around, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Then the chorus goes to,
need you now more than
and
ever.
I need you now tonight, and I need you more than ever. And if you only hold me tight, we'll be holding on forever. And we'll only be making it right, because we'll never be wrong. Together we can take it to the end of the line. Your love is like a shadow of me all the time. I don't know what to do, and I'm always in the dark. We're living in a powder keg and giving off the sparks. I really need you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. But now there's only love in the dark, nothing I can say. A total eclipse of the heart.
I mean, it just sounds like somebody misses somebody and they want to see them.
Here we go. Total Eclipse of the Heart is an iconic 80s love song, but did you know that the love it speaks of is a little more supernatural in flavor? That's right. The song's original title was Vampires in Love.
I knew it. She's a witch.
Pretty much. According to songwriter John Steinman, Steinman dished on his original intentions for the track. With Total Eclipse of the Heart, I was trying to come up with this love song, and I remembered I actually wrote that to be a vampire love song. So it's actually a love song of two vampires.
Basically, Total Eclipse of the Heart is Twilight fan fiction.
Exactly. That's what it is. Its original title was Vampires in Love because I was working on a musical of Nosferatu. A great and original.
That's
great
actually
vampire
pretty
story.
sick. If I saw that in a musical with vampires, I'd be like,
That'd be so fire, right? If anyone's listens to the lyrics, they're really like vampire lines. It's all about the darkness, the power of darkness, and love's place in the dark. So it's literally about, how vampires live in the dark, right? And it's about being in the dark, total eclipse of the heart, because the moon. There you go. It's about vampires being in love.
If they're in the daylight, then their skin will burn or shine like diamonds, depending on the lore.
Exactly. Now, see, isn't that interesting? I mean, if you really there is almost a human obsession with. There is a human
Maybe
obsession.
We need to write
that.
a song about werewolves.
Honestly, it's not a bad idea, actually. But it's like it's really interesting to think about. Like, obviously, like they tied it to make it feel more like it could be just like about anybody, right? But I think that there's something really interesting to note how it's like they picked a specific story, a specific like aesthetic or whatever, and they just wrote every lyric in that aesthetic.
Makes me think of the song Zombie.
Cranberries.
It's very memorable. You get the visual right away.
Yeah, it's true. And like the feeling of the song matches the title of it, I think, too, which I think is so cool. This next one is actually pretty freaking crazy. Okay? The song in question is Love Song by Sarah Bareilles.
Oh, I know this one.
You know this one.
I know the story, yeah.
Oh, you do know the story?
Yes.
To read the lyrics, head underwater and they tell me to breathe easy for a while. The breathing gets harder. Even I know that made room for me. It's too soon to see if I'm happy in your hands. I'm unusually hard to hold on to. Blank stares at blank pages. No easy way to say this. You mean well, but you make this hard on me. I'm not going to write you a love song because you asked for it, because you need one. You see, I'm not going to write you a love song because you tell me it's make or break in this if you're on your way. I'm not going to write you to stay if all you have is leaving. I'm going to need a better reason to write you a love song today.
And the reason she wrote this song is she had the album and the label said, we think the album is good, but you need a love song before the album is done.
Yep.
which is amazing because if you listen to the lyrics, like blank stares at blank pages.
Wow. So good.
And I mean, it makes sense as far as, oh, you want me to write a love song when you're not like feeling it, you know, because then it just feels inauthentic. So it's a super clever way of like, how do I write a love song that's authentic to how I'm feeling right now, which is basically like frustrated that you're forced to do something creative.
Wow.
It's kind of like making the best out of the situation you're in, but like still somehow having principles. Like, how do I play ball but still like maintain my creative integrity?
Wow.
Pretty baller move, you know?
I have like, after learning that story now, because I didn't know that story. After learning that, I have so much more respect. I already loved this song, but that's so genius. That is so genius. It's just like, it was really what she was going through, but once again, she flipped it into thinking that it was something, you know, similar to the other thing. She wrote it about something completely different, but ended up connecting in a different way with more people.
And she kind of expressed her real feelings, like head underwater. You know, it's kind of like that pressure of you're trying to make it in this music business.
Yeah.
And there's that pressure of we need this, otherwise your career might not work.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, yeah, blank stares at blank pages. I mean, there's so many great lyrics in there too. It's like, that's really what goes on, you know? And it's back then too, was also like, they would paint the picture of like, if you weren't signed to a label, you didn't have any chance, you know, like, and she came up big with her biggest hit. I wonder how many streams that song has. I feel like that's probably got to be, because I feel like that song was so big.
And songwriting used to be much more of a job.
Yeah.
You know, like Motown era, there would be buildings.
You could make a lot more money in back then too. It was a different era. There was so much more money in music.
Because music was essentially only the radio and like people buying vinyls and stuff like that. But I'm saying there was buildings of songwriters and you're just like essentially clocking in every day.
Wow.
You just go into a building, there's like 10 other songwriters there. They work for a publishing company or a label, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They just write their song or two a day and then they leave. And they're only writing with like piano and lyrics. There's no production.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Because back then there was no like, oh, let's make a quick beat. Like nowadays, it's like we can literally pull up a whole orchestra in 30 seconds.
The writing was essentially, here's my lyrics and here's the melodies that go with it and the chords that go under it. And so you can write it on sheet music, basically. So then you can copyright it and then pitch it to different people and sell the song in different ways.
Insane.
And now it's like you pretty much have to make a 98% sounding finished record for something to get cut.
Wow. It's insane.
You almost have to be somewhat of a producer now.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way you can't be one.
I've definitely noticed that a lot more in doing sessions in LA and things where songwriters that are really good top liners, melodies, and lyrics, they're getting more into production.
Yeah.
It's like more of a normal thing. Whereas when I first came to LA, 2012, 2014, it wasn't like that. There was like always a producer, and then there was a bunch of writers that they didn't even know how to like work a computer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no.
Or like record themselves.
Well, I think that also goes into the fact of like you can't survive as a songwriter financially. It's almost impossible to survive.
But even I remember, you know, whatever era this was, but Bonnie McKee and her being like, yeah, I got really good at recording myself on Pro Tools and like editing my own vocals and things like that. And that time, it was considered unheard of.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, yeah, congratulations. It's not that hard.
Yeah, now, I mean, they've made it. Well, also technology has made it significantly easier for people to do that. Back then, you needed a studio. You needed access to Pro Tools, and that was not in everybody's bedroom.
It's like if you were a good female writer 10 years ago, and you were like, I can also engineer myself. You're like, wow, you're so talented.
Yeah.
And now you'd be like, okay, who cares?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like, oh, cool, that's great. Nice. Yeah, now it's like a more trivial thing. Here we go. Pumped Up Kicks.
I know a little bit about this one.
Okay. Do you know this? Do you know the story of what it's about?
Yes.
Who would have thought that Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People was about anything but being a teenager with cool shoes? As it transpires, the song is actually about a school shooting. Lead singer Mark Foster wrote the song after reading about the rise in mental illness amongst teenagers. I kind of wrote the song to bring awareness to the issue. That sort of thing keeps happening more and more in our country. It's kind of turning into an epidemic. To me, the epidemic isn't gun violence. The epidemic is lack of family, lack of love, and isolation. Kids who don't have anywhere to go or anyone to talk to, and that's what makes them snap. So the song is actually about a school shooting.
I respect he didn't make it like a political thing because that kind of ruins it a little bit.
Yeah.
If it's like, I wrote this song because we need to ban all guns.
Yeah, no, it was more or less just like, hey, this is a serious issue. I mean, Robert's got a quick hand. He'll look around the room. He won't tell you his plan. He's got a rolled cigarette hanging out his mouth. He's a cowboy kid. Yeah, he found a 6-shooter gun in his dad's closet with a box of fun things. I don't even know what, but he's coming for you. Yeah, he's coming for you. Wait, all the other kids with the pumped up kicks, you better run, run, run. Better outrun my gun. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, you better run, run, run faster than my bullet.
Yeah, it gives like an insight to the psyche of what a kid going through that would be like, you know, because
Right.
it just essentially bullying turned on its head. We're like, you used to bully me, good luck.
Yeah.
Or you made fun of me because you had all the nice things and I didn't.
Good luck. Yeah. It's actually that's actually really interesting. I mean, I had assumed that it was about that. But I didn't know like the exact specifics of it.
And the style of which he wrote it, it's almost it's like westernized. Cowboy kid. He's got a
Yeah.
6-shooter or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's pretty insane. And I mean, and that song is like so interesting because like Foster the People, like at that time they were just, you know, an indie band, and that song became one of the biggest songs in the world. So it's kind of like an underdog story too.
It is weird.
They're DJs now. Did you know that?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Isn't that kind of sick?
I don't get it.
They DJ like disco music,
Oh, that's cool.
like funky music,
That makes sense.
like indie electronic music. It's really cool. Last one, Paper Planes. Do you know what that's about?
MIA?
Yep.
No, I don't. Fill me in.
Here we go. So this one's actually really interesting. You'd be totally forgiven for thinking that Paper Planes was about getting high and shooting guns and getting money. And as much fun as it is to mime the gun action along with the chorus's shots, it turns out that there's a far deeper and more interesting meaning behind MIA's hit. MIA herself has said that the song is about the role she experienced with the U.S. government during her attempts to enter the country. People don't really feel like immigrants or refugees contribute to culture in any way, that they're just leeches that suck from whatever. America is so obsessed with money. Yeah, they're always giving me a hard time. When I wrote it, I'd just gotten to New York after waiting a long time, and that's why I wrote it, just to have a dig. It's funny. Let me look at the lyrics.
Yeah, look at the lyrics.
Paper Planes, MIA. I'll read them to you. I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around here, I make them all day. I get one done in a second if you wait. Catch me at the border, I got visas in my name, blah, blah, blah. I got one done in a second if you wait. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every stop I get to, I'm clocking that game. Everyone's a winner. We're making our fame. Bonafide hustler making my name. Because all I want to do is and take your money. Bonafide hustler making my name. It's actually interesting because she's actually like mocking at the fact she's saying that's what, like they saying all I want to do is and take your money. Like it's actually interesting.
It's interesting how the song's almost like more relevant now.
Yeah.
So like what's going on?
I know. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, MIA is really cool. I know Diplo produced that song, and
Yeah,
I also watched a podcast where she was talking about how the label they kind of wanted to leave that song off the album, but it was her favorite song.
Really?
She's like, this song needs to be on the album.
Wow.
And she really pushed for it, and it became like the sleeper viral hit.
I mean, that's like a cult classic as well. I mean, I feel like that is what really sent her into superstardom.
And it is a testament to being one of those songs where I listened to it probably in middle school or high school, maybe early high school, probably early high school. And nobody knew what the song was about at all. But just the melody of it, how it used all these crazy sound effects hadn't really been done at the time. Like you have gunshots, you have like a money, like cha-ching, like a, you know.
Yeah.
It was very unique production.
And her vocal also was like, her vocal delivery is so unbelievable on that song. She's saying with so much conviction and like she really you really believe her, you know, which I think is like she has so much attitude. She has so much like she embodies like what the song means. And I think that also it's like you can feel that in the song. And I think that's what helps sells the song.
It kind of goes back to what we were talking about pumped up kicks, because it's like you have these really catchy songs. They sound happy almost, but the lyrics are kind of about something completely different.
Yeah.
It's like everyone and like Foster the People, pumped up kicks. It's almost like gang vocally. It makes you want to sing, like campfire vibes, and
Right.
it's about a school shooting. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Like
all these other kids with the pop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I mean, this is like obviously like Paper Planes is kind of like a more of a party song, but it's literally about mocking people, mocking immigrants, people that mock immigrants.
a lot
It's
of good
crazy.
examples of specific lyrical content that's niche but end up becoming big hits.
Yeah.
Classics.
Classics. And we talked about this too. And I think it's also important to note that, you know, I was watching this interview with Metro Boomin and Timbaland. And what he said in the interview was, he was like, there's a big difference between hits and classics. Hits are songs that maybe they climb up the charts or like they get to a certain point, but then eventually they kind of subside, you know? But classics, they stick around forever. Maybe they didn't get as high on the chart, or maybe they like, I don't know, peaked somewhere that was in the middle, but they stand the test of time. And I think that classics are the ones that actually make a cultural impact rather than just like, oh, this song is really catchy, I'm just going to loop this over and over and over again. You know, it's a big difference.
There's a lot of like big pop songs that had more generic lyrics and then they kind of fade away over time.
Yeah, they always do.
But it's like pumped up kicks will just be around forever because of how unique it sounds. Or like the Paper
One of
Planes.
one of one. I think it's about creating songs that are one of one. And it's like, that's the only place in the world where you can get like Paper Planes is like, if I think about all the songs in the world, there are so few songs that sound anywhere near Paper Planes. And none of them are as good as Paper Planes. So it's like, if you want to feel how you felt when you first heard Paper Planes for the first time, the only song you can listen to is Paper Planes. That's it. There's no like, but it's like, if I want to listen to a progressive house song about that one time when I was, you know, when I was 16 or 17 and I first heard progressive house for the first time, there's a million progressive house songs that I can go listen to that all sound similar, but there's only one Paper Planes. And that's, I think, the difference. Making songs that are classics.
I think too, if you're in the industry and you're making music all the time, you're writing, producing, whatever, as like a industry person, you want to make something that excites you. And once you're like, oh, I know these 4 chords, this simple progression. Oh, it's a song about these couple universal concepts that everyone writes songs about. You get bored. So you're just like,
Yeah.
you're like, what's going to excite me?
Yeah.
I think those are those kind of records like Paper Planes with like Diplo and MIA where like the label didn't get it.
Yeah.
But those are
The label most of the time never gets it because they're thinking about it from the lens of like, what's going to make us the most money? What's going to give us the highest chance? What's the least amount of risk that we can do? And what's the least amount of risk that we can we can dump $150,000, $200,000, $1 million, whatever they want to spend into it. And it's going to give us the highest rate of return. And that's not taking a lot of risks. So, but I mean, a lot of these songs, that's why a lot of them are rejected at first, but then they come out and then they end up becoming bigger. But I think it's because the people decided that it was a hit, you know?
And if you're someone like MIA who's made all these songs or Diplo who produces all these songs,
Yep.
doing or Sarah Bareilles, just a generic love song, those things aren't going to excite you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how can I put a different spin on it?
Right. And normally if they're not going to excite you, why would they excite the people? Like, why would they excite the person who's watching this right now or you or why would they get excited about it, you know? So it's interesting.